Can Mac Jones improve under Bill O'Brien? Remember, Bill O'Brien has spent a couple seasons in the NFL, and then was an offensive coordinator for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and we know how good that Alabama is. But with that being said, he actually came the year after Mac Jones got drafted, so he wasn't actually under his tutelage. But with his offensive brain, is it knowing that I was under the Nick Saban scheme? Can I try to help Mac Jones in that aspect since we had familiar territory at one point? What do y'all think?
I'll go ahead and start this one off. I think he is going to be able to help because I even mentioned a little bit on the last show. Because O'Brien was under Belichick as well. He was with the Patriots. I believe it was an offensive analysis from 2007 to 10, and then was the OC for 2011. So he's been with both Belichick and he's been under the Saban roof as well. So, I mean, maybe just the fact that Jones did, or Saban was coaches, or English is hard. English is hard.
We get it, man. Just get it. Just get it out. Just get it out.
All right. So the fact that Mac Jones did have Saban as a coach, Bill O'Brien has worked with both Belichick and Saban. This could potentially help. At this point, I feel like it's more on Mac Jones than anybody, especially with the fact that you've already had fans kind of show they would much rather get Zappe over, especially when he got booed out of that Chicago game.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I do think Bill O'Brien's going to help, but I think it's up to Mac Jones now.
What you think, Coach?
I think I don't know how much Bill O'Brien can help because he's not a very good offensive play caller. He gets conservative with his plays a lot. You know, I know that seeing him in Houston, he was not a great play caller at all. Damn sure not a great GM at all. So I think he's better being a quarterback guru, just being a quarterback's coach. I don't know so much about play calling. He has a lack of awareness on fourth down, on third down. He has just a lack of awareness of play calling at times. Situational football, he's really not good. He's really not that good. So I think he's better off being a quarterback coach. I'm not so high up on him as an offensive coordinator. I think when he had Deshaun Watson, it was more Deshaun Watson being just that very good and being able to escape the pocket with the offense, with a bad offensive line. But one thing he is invested in, he is invested in the running game a lot. And they do got Stevenson over there who can ground and pound. So he's going to get them some good opportunities. You know, he's going to establish the running game. But far as being creative with his play calling, Bill O'Brien is really not all that good. But he could help Matt Jones out as a quarterback himself, as being a quarterback whisperer. I mean, we've seen what he can do with Christian Hackenberg on his first year in college. Christian Hackenberg was actually solid in his first year in college. So he's got some ability to be a quarterback whisperer. But as an offensive coordinator, he's pretty questionable as an offensive coordinator.
I like the fact you bring up Christian Hackenberg because what happened to my guy after he left Penn State, man? I had no idea. He was like, to deal with all that adversity through Penn State and to put that team on his back, I thought that was just going to directly translate to the NFL, and it didn't. I mean, his career took a plummet. I just saw him in an interview the other day. I don't know, Vic, if you've seen that interview. It was with a former Penn State tight end. I forget what his name was.
The blonde hair dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, goofy dude, bro. But just to throw up Mac Jones' profile here, he's 16-15. Which it's just funny seeing that out of a Patriots quarterback because we've been so used to Tom Brady just having an outrageous record. But 16 for 15, 640 completions over 963 attempts. It's a 66.5 completion percentage, which is not bad for NFL. That's kind of like where you want to be. Because this dude had like a 77 in college or something like that. 36 touchdowns, 24 interceptions. But when you watch him play on the field, it's worse than it's worse than what his stat line is projecting. Let's just put it that way. Bailey Zappi does look like more of the when he's on the field, he looks like more of the leader. He looks like more comfortable. I just hate how they bench him every single time after one mediocre game. Like he's not gonna learn that way. It's not act like Tom Brady when he first came on. Like every single game that he played in was absolutely great at the beginning of his career because it wasn't. So I don't know if they're just trying to get back to. I don't know if they're having like the hangover from all the success that they've had with Tom Brady and just expect to happen with every single quarterback, which I'm sure they don't, but it just seems like that. Like if you're not giving us straight success, then you're out. We gotta flip flop you guys. So it's like either stick with one and stop teasing the other. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of think about it. But Vic, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, unlike Coach, I think I disagree. I think Coach is a little spurned on, how he was as a GM. If you actually look at that Texans team, Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins probably had their best seasons under O'Brien. When we talked about Christian Hackenberg, his first season, he was great. Also, we kind of forget Mike McGloin. He was also part of one of Bill O'Brien's quarterbacks that he had while he was at Penn State. And he did a great job while at Penn State. Now, the issue with, like we all said, O'Brien is when he becomes that GM, when he has total control over the roster. I think that's where we have an issue. Now, when we're talking about coaching, I think Bill O'Brien's the right guy, especially for Mac Jones in his little lull. First year had a good season. Second year, we hit a low. But now in that third season, we want to see progression. And I think under Bill O'Brien, you're going to see that progression.
Yeah, man. I think so as well. I think this is a great thing. What we're seeing right now is just a spurn from exactly what happened with the DeAndre Hopkins thing. I don't know if that's, and I think after I looked back at the situation, and I agree with Coach because Coach has been the number one defender of that. Like just because we got rid of DeAndre Hopkins because or whatever the situation, like Bill O'Brien was not a bad coach, overall. So. They did.
Yeah, I got a question. I was just saying, like, he was not a bad coach overall. Before as an offensive coordinator, GM, he wasn't great. But was it really Bill O'Brien, or was it DeAndre Hopkins and Watson was just that good? Was really just that good? I think it was Hopkins and Watson was really just that good of players. We didn't have an offensive line, and Watson was able to maneuver through all that and make plays for his teammates with a terrible roster that Bill O'Brien kind of threw down. And his play calling was kind of iffy at that. DeAndre Hopkins did great with any quarterback. So was it really Bill O'Brien, or was Hopkins them was really actually that good? That's the only thing that's questionable about. But far as leading a team, being focused on head coaching ability, I didn't have a problem with Bill O'Brien. Not just as an offensive group play caller. No, I don't think. I think that's kind of questionable. As a quarterback whisperer, yes, I think he's good. But far as focusing on head coach, wasn't a problem at all. He know how to motivate guys. It just. When he got the GM job, it's just his head got too big. He got too big and he started wanting everybody out of there. But for as a quarterback whisperer and him being able to lead a team, I think Bill O'Brien can do that. I just think he doesn't need to be an offensive play caller or just focusing on being a GM. If he focuses on being a head coach, I think Bill O'Brien can be solid as a head coach.
Yeah. Well, what do you and Vic? It's weird. You and Coach are gonna be interconnected on this because this used to be your former coach at Penn State.
Gave us 2 good seasons.
Yeah, but here's the thing with the whole Deshaun Watson thing. As I sit back and I try to evaluate exactly what happened, was it more so of like I know how to deal with college players and I'm still running that college mentality, and if you don't want to be here. Or if you don't like me, the best thing is just to get rid of you and ship you somewhere else. And like you said, Coach, a lot of what was happening was being masked from how good Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins were together. Like, how much of like his college brand do you think had to come into play with that decision? Because You know what I'm saying? Like these are grown men. We always said that. Like
Yeah.
you're dealing with 53 small businesses on an active roster, man. You can't be treating everybody like they're in college too.
Well, I don't think it was so much the fact that he was a college coach, because even when he was in the NFL, when you look at his arguments with Tom Brady on the sideline, it's just that Bill O'Brien is that old school type of coach where you're going to listen to the coach and respect what he says. You don't talk back. That issue he had with DeAndre Hopkins, I think it was just two people who couldn't go on the middle ground and have an understanding of where each other's coming from. So all you get is butting heads. And for a coach, especially when you have the power GM, if you ain't gonna listen to me, I'm not gonna get through to you. Get out. And I think that was the mentality. It wasn't right. It's not the right mentality. You have to have more emotional intelligence. You have to be smarter with your players. You know what I'm saying? You have to, talk things out with them as a grown man like he is. There was no need for the shouting back and forth, going through the media. That wasn't necessary. I think that's where Bill O'Brien got things wrong. And that's something that every, Belichick disciple has an issue with. When they have, charge of the reins, they think that, it's their word or the highway. And it doesn't work like that. You have to work with your coaching staff, your team, the front office. You have to work with everyone. You have to have a good relationship with everyone. If you have a bad relationship, that's going to permeate throughout the team. There's going to be issues. It'll build up. And when it, boils over, you're going to have bad issues like you had in Houston.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to the chat, man. I got to ask one more question to our guys before we move on to Vic's questions. Shout out to Daniel Barry Sports. Don Soars in the multiverse. He's going back and forth right now.
My HDMI cord died, so I currently see nothing. So give me a minute.
Oh, okay. We got you. We can see you though, so that's all.
Oh, I know, and you probably see me looking like an idiot.
Shout out to Yogi, my man. Nate's in the house, and Jeff. What's up? Appreciate y'all coming through, man. So, kind of a question to the panel. So, we know that Bill O'Brien had success at Alabama, and you can almost say his last year he had dealt with some adversity because he didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver for the first time in God knows how long. But he was with Bryce Young for 2 years, and he was the number 1 overall pick. So that's not by any fluke, But with that being said, first question is, this is just a yes or no. Can he turn around Mac Jones's career?
Yes.
Thank you, Coach.
Questionable.
Questionable? All right.
Yeah, questionable.
Sorry.
Questionable.
All right.
I'm fighting my demons right now here, bro.
So, question to Vic. Since he could turn his career around, is that meaning that Bailey Zappi doesn't have a chance of starting over Mac Jones again?
I think because of where Bailey Zappi was drafted and where Mac Jones is drafted, that's what creates the issue here. If that wasn't something that they looked so much into and no one wanted to admit the fact that they were wrong for drafting said player, then I think Bailey Zappi would have more chance. He would have a longer leash. But Mac Jones is the first-round draft pick. Mac Jones is the guy who they consider to be the franchise quarterback, the future of the team. So you have to do everything in your power to give him all the chances.
Define turning his career around. My definition of that is Mac Jones starting a complete season.
My question is,
per injuries.
Well, I would say too, Mac Jones taking more control of the game, not sitting back, being more vocal, being more of a leader. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to do that. You can't be sitting around being that quiet guy the whole time. After a while, you got to take control of this team, or this team's not going to have anyone to lead them.
Yeah. What were you saying, Sora?
I was saying my question is, who lasts longer, Belichick or Jones?
Belichick.
Or not Belichick, O'Brien.
Oh.
O'Brien or Belichick? Or
no, O'Brien or Jones?
I'm going to say O'Brien.
I think O'Brien lasts long.
Yeah.
Because if Daniel Jones, if Matt Jones doesn't have the same season he had last year, they may find a way to get him out of there. Well, Bailey Zappi, don't be surprised if Bailey Zappi be taking over. So it's more pressure on Matt Jones than Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at the relationship that they had between Bill Belichick and Bill O'Brien. You know what I mean? Like, he was a coordinator. He's kept in touch. He's a good friend. He brings him back after a while. He sees that he doesn't have a job. First thing he does, he gets Bill on the phone and brings him back. Yeah. I don't see many chances for Mac Jones. Like we said, there are times where Bailey Zappi has to go in and, in relief. Or Bailey Zappi, the guy who starts, and they're looking at him. But I don't see that same relationship that Bill Belichick would have with O'Brien that he would have with Jones.
Yeah.
I agree. So with that being said, what's the over-under on his 17 starts this year? Coach, I'll start with you. Before he gets for the first time he gets benched. How many games does he play before he gets benched?
I say he played 10.
Okay.
I say he gets 6.
For me, I don't think it's the amount of games. It's the first time Belichick sees him throw multiple interceptions within a quarter. He's gone.
I'm saying I think it's going to be a tight ran ship regardless of Bill O'Brien. Because if Bill O'Brien sees something in Bailey Zappi, you don't think he's going to be like, hey, yo, get him out of here, bro.
Gonna be like, hey, coach.
I really think it's 2 games. I get Mac Jones the first 2 games of the season, and then Zappi going to come in, and it's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be different this year. I think Zappi's the starter. And I'm taking my bias out of it. I just think with how Bill O'Brien coaches and everything that Bailey Zappi had to go through. I mean, let's be honest here. A 1-year starter in Mac Jones who had an incredible season, came to the NFL, came over to Bill Belichick. And if Bill Belichick can't turn your season or your career around, it's done. And so might as well put Bailey Zappi in there and see what he does. And if Bailey Zappi fails, they're drafting a quarterback next year. I'm telling you that right now.
I was going to say.
Michael Penix Jr. might be their quarterback next year.
Well, I was going to say, if Bailey Zappi was the guy to work out, look at how it works out contract-wise. You don't have to pay Mac Jones that money. Bailey Zappi can get an extension for a small amount. He's not going to get, top-tier money. You have him for an extended period of time. That's a great move if that works out for the Patriots.
Yeah. Are the what's up, Too Evil? He said, are the Patriots in rebuild officially? No.
They've been rebuilding since Brady left. Let's be honest.
What you're starting to see with the Patriots is how much Tom Brady was great for their team. I've been saying that. I said that since I was a teenager when I seen him play. I used to hate Tom Brady, bro, for no reason, just because everybody else hated him. And then I really sat back and watched how he played the position. And the most underrated thing about Tom Brady that people still just throw on the wayside. Who did he have for a long time? Because the argument was him and Peyton Manning. I can name about all the Hall of Famers that Peyton Manning's had or projected future Hall of Famers that Peyton Manning's had. Who can you name for Tom Brady?
David Givens.
outside of Gronk. And you can honestly say that he made Gronk what he is.
Like I said, Givens and Branch. Those are the only 2 receivers he had, really, until Randy Moss.
Wes Walker had that one good year on the Broncos, and then that went downhill.
And
Julian Edelman, better in the playoffs than he was during the regular season. Mm-hmm. Randy Moss, Big Fridge, come on, Randy Moss. So here's the thing with that: you give Tom Brady good weapons. What has he always done? Randy Moss came, they went to the Super Bowl. He got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Gronk, went back to the Super Bowl and they won it. So you surround Tom Brady with good weapons, he's going to make those good weapons seem Hall of Fame-like. Randy Moss was already a Hall of Famer. So you forget. You probably weren't even born then. I can't remember, Big Fridge.
A lot of people keep on saying
undefeated.
A lot of people keep on saying Gronk, and I mentioned the other day, Aaron Hernandez was a sick weapon. Probably better than Gronk if he was, had his things in order.
That's true.
So I can't say we can't say Brady didn't have weapons. Let's be honest. He had Corey Dillon. That's a great compliment to him. We said, Deion Branch, he had that, but he did have the chance to have Moss. Had an almost undefeated season. So he's been given weapons, but he hasn't had Hall of Famers like Dallas Clark, like Reggie Wayne. You know what I mean? Like that's something he doesn't have. He doesn't have Hall of Famers. And let me not forget. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say, let me not forget Marvin Harrison. I don't want to forget Marvin Harrison.
And then like Reggie Wayne, future Hall of Famer. Marvin Harrison, already in the Hall of Fame. Edgerrin James in the Hall of Fame. Marshall Faulk in the Hall of Fame. Jeff Saturday, future Hall of Famer. Let's not even talk about the defense, how many Hall of Famers they had on the defense. Tony Dungy.
They had Dwight Freeney on that defense.
Yeah.
Bob Sanders was actually good before his career was cutting short. Bob Sanders was a beast.
Yep.
But you got Vince Wilfork.
Yep.
And Brady did have his guys too on the defense because those Patriots teams had I think they were number 1 or number 2 each year they won the Super Bowl.
Richard Seymour. Oh no, wait, that's
not Willie McGinnis, Richard Seymour. You got it.
Yeah.
Ty Law.
Yeah, I think it's hard to compare the two because of what Peyton had. Because if Brady would have had all them damn weapons, how many Super Bowls would Brady have won? And I hate having this argument sometimes, but like if you were to flip flop them, Tony Dungy is a hell of a coach too. You got to give it to him. I mean, they did win a Super Bowl under Peyton, but if you put Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, who was the white dude at receiver that was like on a ton of different teams, but he was always great.
I would say Austin Collie.
Austin Collie was a beast though, but he was a concussion master, Vic. Like he was always getting injured.
Let's be honest, they left him out to dry because they kept on throwing him across the middle when they know they had no need to do that.
And he didn't care. He was catching them joints over the middle too. He didn't care.
He was doing everything he could. But yeah, and when you talk about the Colts, they also had, listen, you talking about great coaching staff as well. Not just with Tony Dungy, with the teams that took after he left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean,
they also had Brandon Stokely too, who's actually solid.
Brandon Stokely, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And could you imagine they had Marshall Faulk, but they traded him for Edgerrin James? Could you imagine what that team would have been?
Oh, let's not act like Joseph Adai wasn't nothing. And Desmond Rhodes. Remember Desmond Rhodes?
Pierre Garçon was pretty good.
Pierre Garçon.
Oh, yeah.
After Edgerrin left and Desmond Rhodes stepped up, bro. Come on. People act like that. The Colts might have been the most choke artist team of all time that nobody talks about.
Nah, I'll give that to the Chargers, but Colts are a close second.
Yeah, you're right. We talked about that the other week. Yeah, it's 1A and 1B with them, though. It's 1A and 1B with them. There was several times that they should have won against the Patriots.
But that's a testament to the Patriots for taking out probably two of the best teams in the 2000s and holding them to just bystanders.
Mm-hmm.